long time ago in a galaxy not so far away.
Welcome to another episode of In a Galaxy Not So Far Away, your favorite Star Wars podcast, probably. I'm Cody Smith, and I am joined by Brendan Long, and this is if you don't know by now, this is a podcast about Star Wars. We talk about Star Wars. We're giant nerds. So yeah.
This is the way.
This is the way. Sorry. Real quick, I wanted to talk to you maybe a bit, but did you see the Obi-Wan trailer?
No, I haven't. Did it come out?
Yeah, they released a trailer. It's insane.
All right, I'm going to watch this. I won't watch it right now. I'll watch it later. But I see Ewan McGregor, and he looks like a grizzled old fuck in the thumbnail, and I'm already jizzing my pants about this.
Yeah. Oh, man, just some of the scenes in the trailer are just like, it's like Goosebumps worthy. So.
This is amazing. How did I not know about this trailer before? It looks like it came out forever ago.
Yeah, dude, I didn't know about it either until Ned showed it to me today.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. That's what I love.
Yeah.
I love that.
It's fucking so good. So good.
So, Clone Wars animated movie.
The Clone Wars animated movie, yes. To be honest, I didn't even know that this movie existed, so...
No, neither did I. The only reason why I knew we had to watch it was because I was reading through that list that you sent me of the, sort of Star Wars canon list to watch the media in. And I saw this, and I was like, oh, okay, I guess we better watch that. That seems relatively important, because I thought that we were, I was a little confused myself, so...
Yeah, it's like I knew that there was like the animated series, like the TV show, and I guess like I had started watching that in preparation for the show, and then you like told me that there was this animated movie, so it's like, oh, what? Like, geez.
Yeah, and I don't know if this was... Like, was this done before the animated series or after? I don't even know. I probably should have researched this.
So I think how the movie came to be is before they released the animated TV show, they did a bunch of shorts.
Okay.
So there were like shorts that were like on like Teletoon or whatever in between shows that were like 5 to 10 minutes long.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, looking back into my memory, I actually do remember some of these shorts, kind of like short things, like because I remember the story actually, and I remember some things about like Kid Jabba and whatnot. But basically, what they did after they released all these shorts is they compiled it into one cohesive movie.
Okay, they were like, all right, this seems to be trending well. We might as well throw this on there, kind of thing, right? Might as well make a movie out of it.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I guess what did you think of it?
I really enjoyed it, if I'm being honest. I thought it was like definitely geared towards a younger audience, 100%, but it was fun, and there was lots of lightsaber action, and we got introduced to some really cool characters, and the introduction of Ahsoka Tano was really cool. I like her as a character. I'm really interested to see where that goes. Again, full disclosure, I have no idea about any of the animated series, so this is a completely fresh watch for me personally. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, I would honestly agree with what you said, and also for me, I haven't watched any of the animated shows. I've watched like maybe six episodes of the Clone Wars TV show, but it was actually kind of neat actually watching Star Wars content for the first time as an adult. You know what I mean?
Definitely. There's like a completely fresh experience. And I, like you said, I kind of remember some of this stuff on Teletoon, but I don't ever remember really catching it or anything. So this was like a super cool, unique experience, definitely. And like, honestly, the story was better put together than Attack of the Clones, like 100%.
Yeah, no, I agree. And it's like, and also the one thing that I found myself thinking while watching this is that I just I like this version of Anakin so much more than the other two that we've seen so far.
1,000%. This is like, I almost wish they would have had more of this Anakin in the other movies, because he's like competent, he's less whiny, it shows the other side of him and how far he fell. Do you know what I mean? Like I would follow this Anakin into a war for sure. I really like him.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. He's not that like whiny, angsty teenager type character that you only really see in kind of episode 3.
Yeah, episode 2 as well. He's yeah. I mean, I really, really enjoyed this. I thought it was super entertaining.
Yeah, no, me too. And it's cool that you get to see kind of like, and it delves a little bit even deeper into the kind of the lore and the backstory of some of these characters once we get into the Clone Wars TV show. But it's kind of cool that you get to see some of these characters. And their stories are maybe like explored a little bit more. Like I'm just thinking, some of the Jedis and like Ahsoka Tano and even Yoda and Obi-Wan Kenobi. It gives them a little bit more context, and even Anakin. Like it gives all the characters just that much more like kind of context, and like you said, like how much of a big deal it should have been for Anakin to go over to the dark side.
If they had ran this in between. Which obviously I don't think they could have done, because it looks like it was released 2008, just based off the Wikipedia page here. But if they could have ran this in between Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith, I think it would have elevated both of those movies so much more. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, 100%. I agree. Because, like, it just provides kind of a little bit more, like I said, like context, and it like makes the stakes a little bit more real, in my opinion, because it like provides like humanization of all these characters a little bit more.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. They're not just like these mythical figures now, right? That you can kind of see the human element behind them.
You get to watch them grow up a little bit, which is key, right? Like the jump between Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith, it's like, oh shit, Anakin is way more mature now, but we never got to see any of that character growth. It felt like we went from one whiny Anakin to another way more angry, somewhat whiny Anakin. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, like I totally agree with that.
I also loved that they got someone like the big name voice actors involved. Like Christopher Lee playing Count Dooku, phenomenal.
Yeah, it is kind of interesting actually, because I've heard, and I think it was Nanette who told me this, but a lot of the voice actors aren't like or a lot of the characters in like the animated series aren't voiced by the actors who played them in the movies. You know what I mean?
No, just again looking at the Wikipedia page here, the vast majority aren't. The only ones that are, it looks like to me, are Sam Jackson. Christopher Lee as Count Dooku, and then Anthony Daniels as C-3PO. Which, who cares about? Who cares about C-3PO? Like, let's be honest.
Yeah, exactly.
Like no one really cares about that.
On that note, though, I would say that the voice acting that they did do in this animated series, and that they continue throughout the Clone Wars animated series, it's actually pretty comparable to what they sound like in the prequel trilogy.
Oh, definitely. I don't think Anakin sounds the same, but I feel like you can kind of chalk that up to getting older or something. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And honestly, like the whoever does the voicing for the Obi-Wan Kenobi character does a really good job, I think.
Oh, super good job. Like he sounds exactly like Ewan McGregor. It's kind of phenomenal.
Yeah, I would definitely agree.
One of the other things that I really enjoyed was the music. I thought the music was super solid, personally.
Yeah, that's actually something that I noticed and wanted to bring up for sure, is the music is so different in the animated series. It's like there's like rock music and like kind of like borderline electronic music, and just like a heavier vibe in general, and it kind of gets away from that like big orchestral sound and like makes it, again, it just kind of like makes it a little bit more real and like humanizes it a little bit. It's not like this giant epic anymore. It's like this gritty kind of war, so the music kind of reflects that as well.
I love it personally. Like I was again just overall super impressed with this movie. And again, like I said, it definitely was geared towards a younger audience, and I definitely groaned at like some of the stuff. I'm like, oh, this is a little corny, you know. But again, I was more interested in this storyline than I was probably the entirety of Attack of the Clones and Anakin's arc in that movie, you know. Like, I thought it was really, really good. And it shows fun adventures. Like, Star Wars, in my mind at least, isn't supposed to be like, there's definitely serious themes and stuff like that, but what it should really be is just like fun, awesome blaster and lightsaber times with some overarching drama. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. And honestly, I think that's maybe why I'm more attracted to some of the offshoot movies that get away from the main trilogies or the main series, like The Mandalorian, like the Solo movies, like Rogue One, because actually Rogue One was really serious. It was good, but it was actually really serious. But like the Solo movies in Mandalorian is the perfect example. Like, they're fun laser shooting battles with some lightsaber action, and each of the stories feel like it's just its own space adventure in the Star Wars universe, you know.
And that's all that, honestly, that's all that people have been asking for so long. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's all that they want. And I'm just again looking at the Wikipedia page here, and I didn't realize this. It's directed by Dave Filoni, who's the guy who basically booted up The Mandalorian with Jon Favreau.
Oh, really?
Yes, yeah. And Dave Filoni also used to work on Avatar: The Last Airbender. So that'll give you an idea of the pedigree there, you know?
Yeah, I didn't know who he was, but he works on like my favorite things. So
yeah, I had honestly I had no idea, and I told you about this before, but that like making of the Mandalorian documentary thing on Disney Plus, you should totally watch it, because he talks about how he worked on Avatar and how George Lucas like contacted him and was like, hey, you know, we want you. We've seen your work on animating Avatar and directing that, or whatever it was that he did. We want you to work on the Clone Wars series. And he's kind of an OG Star Wars fan, so he's shitting his pants about it, right?
Yeah.
Came on for these animated series, and I haven't seen the TV show, but based off what I've heard and based off this movie, they're awesome, you know?
Yeah, I mean, the little bit that I have watched so far, it is like very entertaining, and it grips you for sure.
Nice.
And it kind of grips you in the same way that Avatar does, I would say, now that I kind of can make that connection. Whereas, like, you know, there's a large overarching theme, but each of the shows is like its own little space adventure.
Exactly. Avatar totally has that model. Now that you say that, I didn't even think about it, but now I'm like, holy crap, that's exactly what this is. And that's the same thing that The Mandalorian has, right? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Each episode is a contained adventure, but there's still that overarching thread that connects everything, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's why I like The Mandalorian so much, is because of that, the way that they do it, you know?
Exactly. It's interesting, because I think that maybe, you know, this is me kind of waxing poetic and talking about this animated series, because I really enjoyed this movie. But, like, this is sort of the seed of the redemption of the Star Wars universe, especially after the prequels got shit on. And then the sequels, you know, I mean, everybody has their own opinion about the sequels, but I'm not a huge fan of them personally, other than those offshoot ones like you were talking about, like Solo and Rogue One. But you can see like the seeds of The Mandalorian in something like this, you know?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, I 100% agree with that. And yeah, I agree with you too on like the sequels with what happened with them, but like the at the end of the day, it like booted up this franchise again, and it's like I feel like almost going stronger than ever with what's to come.
It's like the original trilogy storyline needed to die. It's like, you know when a forest gets burned and then like those little trees that survive the forest fire start sprouting? That's what happened in my mind, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, you needed to like get the sequels out of the way, get the next trilogy out of the way, that so you could like give birth to what's happening now, like with, Rogue One, the Solo movies, the Boba Fett series that's coming, the Obi-Wan series that's coming. Those all look fucking phenomenal.
Exactly. And this movie and the other animated series are literally the start of that, right? Because I always read on like the Star Wars subreddit, the animated series is so awesome, the animated movie's awesome. It sucks that they're, not including any of the extended universe stuff into the new sequels, blah, 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 blah. And after having watched this, I'm like, yeah, damn, why didn't they do that, And I'm really looking forward to the TV series.
Yeah, me too. And it's kind of neat because, like, I played some of the games that came out around that era, like the prequel era, and also subsequently, like, the Clone War era. And one of the best ones to, like, come out of that whole thing was Republic Commando.
Oh, great. Amazing game. Amazing game.
And I feel like that's hugely obviously influenced off of, like, the Clone Wars and, like, the Clone Wars animated shows. And it's like I was aware of this awesome thing, but I just never got into it.
I know. And I think partially what happened, too, was, like, the animated series started coming out when we were getting just a little bit older. And, when you start to turn 16, 17, you're like, I don't want to be a little kid. And you're like, I'm not going to watch that little kid.
I'm not watching cartoons.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that we really missed out on that because, this is some great content for sure. On a side note, did you see that EA lost their exclusive rights to make Star Wars games?
No, but I heard something about Ubisoft and Star Wars collaborating to make an open world Star Wars RPG.
This is what's happening. So EA had, I think, 5 or 6 years. This is a total offshoot of this movie, but I have to talk about it. EA had like a 5 or 6 year exclusive contract to make Star Wars games, and they fucked it up massively. Like nobody, the Battlefront games when they came out, no one was happy with them. They said they were going to do a bunch of stuff that they didn't do, blah, 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 blah. And, EA has a terrible reputation as being kind of a greedy corporate overlord type company kind of thing, right? So when their rights ran out, there was a collective rejoicing around the Star Wars community because it's like, oh, sweet, now Ubisoft. I think BioWare is owned by EA now, which makes me sad. But maybe BioWare can take a crack at something. Fingers crossed, we'll have, another coder. That's never going to happen, but I can hope and pray,
Yeah, but they made that, because BioWare made that massively, like that MMO coder, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I played it for a little bit. It was okay, but it's like, it was just, at the time, it was just another, like, World of Warcraft ripoff, Yeah. And that was not the direction they needed to go. Like, the first 2 Knights of the Old Republic games were, the only 2 Knights of the Old Republic games, single-player games, were, like, amazing, right? I mean, everyone agrees they were amazing, Mm-hmm. And then it just kind of, the series died, unfortunately, because, I don't know why, just because, I guess. But anyways, that was a bit of a sidetrack. Let's talk about the animated movie. What did you think about like the animation style itself?
Oh, it was horrible. I thought it was hideous, but I think that might be a product of the times, But I will say that I think it ages better than another style of animation that might be trying to be more realistic. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I was going to say that. I was like, it's not the greatest animation, but it ages well because you can watch it today and it's still like, it just looks like a unique animation choice instead of like dated,
Exactly. It's like cel-shaded games, like Wind Waker. Wind Waker looks great today because it's got that style of animation.
Yeah, because it went for like a different style of animation that is just intentional, right?
Exactly. And like this was definitely a little bit clunky and the movement seemed clunky, I guess, to be straight honest.
Yeah, I agree.
But overall it was really good.
I like I said, I think it ages well, but you can definitely, I agree. You can see the clunkiness in some of the scenes, especially when they get into like close-ups and stuff like that. It all just seems kind of like robotic a little bit.
Definitely. And I wonder if in the TV series, as the budget goes up, it gets better. I don't know. Maybe. I hope so. Yeah, but it's not terrible, and it definitely ages not terrible.
Yeah, and you have to remember that this is probably like this is the prelude to the TV series. Like this is probably like the pilot, essentially, right?
Yes, that's the way that I understand it.
So I mean, I assume that I think I honestly, from what I remember from the TV show, it is like a little bit better. The movements just seem more fluid and less clunky. So.
Yeah, they have. Well, I'm guessing for a movie they would have gotten a bigger budget, so maybe they could throw some more cash at it, which always helps, right?
Yeah.
Let's talk about baby fucking baby Jabba.
Oh man. I you fucking, I don't know. Like, I don't know what to expect from baby Jabba, but then you see him and you're like, yeah, I guess that would be exactly what a baby Jabba would look like.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, I don't know if they were trying to make it cute, or like a combination of cute but also gross. And if that's what they were going for, they definitely hit the mark on it.
Yeah. I definitely think they were going for cute but gross.
Yeah, stinky. Isn't that what she calls him all the time?
Yeah, stinky.
I love that. That's hilarious.
It is cool that you get to see the kind of the Hutt clan extended family.
Yeah, I actually I thought one of the better characters that came out of this, besides Asajj Ventress, was the uncle, Zero something.
It's something like that. Yeah, I forget his name too. But I really like that character as well, to be honest with you.
Whoever voiced that guy deserves like some kind of award, because I hated him.
Yeah, he had such a slimy voice. Yeah, it was like super high pitched and just slimy. And you're like, well, how can you even trust this guy? Like,
yeah, they did a great job of that.
Yeah, and I like the way that they like portrayed him too. It's like, Jabba the Hutt lives on Tatooine, this desert planet, so his colors are very desert-like, right? They're very earthy. And then his uncle, who lives on Coruscant, is like this neon version of Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah, like purple and blue, and yeah, like the New York style,
Yeah, he's like a hipster Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah, I really liked that too. I really did, and I liked kind of the political sort of machinations of Count Dooku and the senator messing with the uncle, and like it's all kind of mixed up. I really enjoyed that. I wish they would have explored it more, but it's also a children's movie, so I don't think they could,
Yeah. But I also agree with you about Ventress. Ventress is a super cool baddie for sure. The two lightsabers, they're pretty cool. They got those neat handles on them and everything, and
big fan of Ventress. I'm really hoping she makes an appearance in other Star Wars media up and coming. I really, really hope that happens.
Yeah, no, that'd be great, because we could use a live action Ventress, like we got a live action Ahsoka Tano.
Yeah, live action Ahsoka Tano's head is massive. It's huge.
Yeah, it's huge. But they did do a really good job with her live action style.
They did, and looking at the animated character, her head's pretty big too, but her body's super skinny, and like the proportions were just weird to me for some reason.
Yeah, no, I agree with you for sure. What did you think about Ahsoka Tano and Anakin's relationship?
Oh, I love it. I definitely think that there's like an Obi-Wan Anakin kind of thing going on, where he can see a lot of himself in her,
Yeah, I agree.
Like, she's got an attitude, he's got an attitude. He thinks he knows better than her, but she thinks she knows better than him, which is the exact same dynamic that he has with Obi-Wan throughout the movies and in this series as well.
Yeah, exactly. I would totally agree. It's like he gets like a younger version of himself, and I'm excited to see where that relationship goes in the animated series, because I have no idea, and I think it'll just be interesting to see that relationship develop, because she's in it throughout the entire all 7 seasons and stuff, so it'll just be kind of cool to see where that relationship ends up, and where they end that off, I guess.
Yeah, I'm interested to see too. I know a little bit just through reading and whatnot, but I don't know how it all comes together. You know what I mean? And it's pretty clear that the Star Wars fandom has like asserted that Ahsoka is a main character. You know, so I think it'll be really cool to watch her arc, whatever it ends up being.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. One thing, just on the note of Ventress, it's something that kind of Tierra noticed when we were watching it together, but you know, Obi-Wan comes in to like save Anakin, and he like meets Ventress, and he has like that witty banter with Ventress. And Tierra like pointed out, it's almost like he likes having this like arch villain lady who he is like, you know, like can challenge him a little bit.
Definitely. I would agree with that. I would totally agree with that. I think
Yeah.
Obi-Wan always needs a major countering force, otherwise he flails, you know. And in Revenge of the Sith, that's General, what's his name? You know his name.
Grievous.
Yes, it's General Grievous, right? And and in the first one, it's Darth Maul. And with Darth Maul, it's a little bit less of a, you know, there's less dialogue, obviously. But it really feels like Obi-Wan is kind of the main driving force behind a lot of the stuff in this prequel era, you know?
Yeah. For sure, because like that's the story, right? Is it's centered around Darth Vader, and Darth Vader's, you know, Anakin Skywalker's master was Obi-Wan. So
I'm very excited for the Obi-Wan series. Very excited.
oh god, then the trailer, like when you watch it, it'll make you so much more excited. It looks like they did such a good job with it.
Amazing.
Trailers are deceiving, so like, you know, I always keep my expectations low because otherwise I get disappointed, but yeah, it looks good.
Well, if it's anything like The Mandalorian, they'll deliver, which hopefully is the case, right?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with the whole Obi-Wan thing, and it's like, I kind of like raises the question. It's like when you have a force that's pushing against you, a force of evil, it's easy to know where your loyalties lie and what you kind of need to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like
when you don't have that, though, when you don't have that, I think that, you know, you start to stray a little bit, and it's like, okay, what is good? What is evil, right? And you can very clearly tell that Asajj Ventress is evil, period.
Yeah, and I think that's actually kind of the story arc of Luke Skywalker a little bit, you know? Especially after, like, we don't know much of what happened to Luke after the original trilogy, but it seems like, you know, there's always that whole, like, that gray Jedi thing, you know? He wasn't really dark side, he wasn't really good, like, light side, he was in the middle somewhere.
Well, and I think that, I don't know, I think with Luke, you can see it at the end, too, right? Like, when the Emperor tells him to strike down his father and he'll take his place, it's like, oh shit, he might actually fucking do this. We don't know. This is very possible, you know? And I would love to see a character arc like that for Ahsoka Tano, or, well, I mean, we already have it for Anakin, I guess, and we know what happens. But I would love to see something like that for Ahsoka as well. Because, again, I think that there's a lot of her in Anakin and vice versa.
Yeah, I agree with that. And, like, you know, you have your kind of, just to use a D&D kind of reference again, you have your, like, lawful good Jedi, like Qui-Gon Jinn, like Obi-Wan Kenobi, like Yoda. And then you have your, like, chaotic Jedi, who are more like Anakin and Ahsoka and Luke Skywalker, you know?
Yes, exactly. And then you have your evil, your straight up evil Jedi. You know, I would say lawful evil Jedi would be Darth Maul, personally. And then chaotic evil would be Darth Sidious.
Yeah. I would agree with that for sure.
He's just so cold. He's so cold and calculating, you know?
Yeah, it's like evil for evil's sake.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think, I guess, of the overall, I guess, storyline of the movie? like, you know, the whole thing with it was basically just like a one-off D&D adventure campaign where they go to like do this kind of side quest that doesn't really, I guess, kind of affect the whole overarching story, but like it could.
Yeah, it was. I didn't mind it. I mean, you know, again, we kind of talked about how really what it should be is just like a fun adventure romp kind of thing, and I thought that they accomplished that. I didn't think the storyline was particularly deep. I didn't think it was particularly amazing. Although I enjoyed the sort of political stuff with the senator, like Darth Sidious, Count Dooku, and Jabba the Hutt. I don't think it was 100% necessary. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I did, you know, they could have had this just be about the Jedi going to get Jabba the Hutt's son, and it would have been just as fun. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it would have been just as good for sure.
And why does Padme just go into, like, the underbelly of Coruscant on her own, like a dum-dum? Like, why would you do that?
Yeah. That whole Padme thing kind of seemed like it was a little bit
Forced?
I don't know, strong-armed a little bit, into the whole movie.
Yeah, it felt like they were like, oh shit, we gotta have Padme in this because she's Padme, so we better come up with some sort of little side quest for her to do, you know?
Just to kind of be like, yeah, she's still here, guys.
Yeah, exactly. But, you know, I really think the whole primary plot is surrounding Anakin and Ahsoka Tano. And they could have even focused on just those two and not had Obi-Wan really super involved, and I would have been fine with that too, you know?
Yeah, I would agree. And honestly, Obi-Wan isn't, like, he doesn't play a huge role in this movie, I would say.
No, not at all, really. He's kind of there, like, in the background, doing stuff with the clones, and then he comes in and fights Ventress, and then he's like, blah, 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 you know, like, and that was fine. That was totally fine with me.
Yeah, 100%. Actually, one thing I did notice about this movie, too, is that as soon as... It's interesting. You have these faceless bad guys in the Stormtroopers, and they never take off their helmets. But then you take the same things, the Republic Commandos, and you put them on the good side. And once they're on the good side, you have to add personality to them, you know? They're always taking off their helmets. They have different hairstyles. They have different personalities and stuff like that.
Exactly. And I think that's just a writing device, right? Like, otherwise they just feel like endless clones who are on the good side, unless you give them that kind of personality, in which case it makes you empathize with them a little bit more when stuff goes wrong, you know?
Yeah, no, I agree, and I see why they do it. It also, like, you know, if you humanize the bad guy minions, like, you're going to feel bad when a Jedi comes in and kills, like, 40 of them in 2 minutes.
Exactly. It's like, slap a Nazi label on their shoulder and be done with it. You know, like, boom, they're evil, we're good, these are the good clones, those are the bad guys, boom, done. You know? And actually, the droids really service that function as well, right? Because they all sound the same, they don't really have any personality, they're just droids.
Yeah, they're just droids, so you don't feel bad for them at all. You know, you want the Jedi to go in and, like, slice them in half and stuff like that.
There is something interesting to be said, though, and I'm thinking of Republic Commando as a game, and I'm sure the television show as I move on, but it's crazy to me that they can have one voice for all the same character, but still give each one of them a different personality in a way. And they did that really well with Republic Commando, I thought.
Yeah, no, I agree. And, like, you know, you have the one base look, too, but you can still get all these unique personalities and all these unique looks out of this one thing.
This is super cool. I really enjoyed it.
I agree. And I also like that, like, with this animated movie, and I'm sure with the animated series, that it kind of humanizes the clones and, like, the people who are fighting this war who aren't the generals, who aren't the Jedi, and stuff like that.
Yes, I really enjoy that too. And it makes it even more bittersweet, when Order 66 comes on and you're like, you fuckers.
Yeah.
I was just starting to like you, and then you do this.
Yeah. Because, like, you can see these relationships forming between the Jedi and the clone leaders who are under them, right? Like, Anakin feels bad that he can't go back to help out the, I forget his name, but he can't go out back to help the clone commander get away from that temple. He has to fly off with Jabba the Hutt's son.
Yeah, and I think that there's like a specific clone unit that Obi-Wan and Anakin work with throughout the series, right?
Yeah, and one of their names is Cody, and it's like it trips me out a little bit because like nobody's ever named Cody in anything.
That's true, actually. You don't really see a ton of Codys in lots of movies, eh?
You got like the sweet life of Zack and Cody, and then you have Clone Wars.
Yeah, that's really it. That's interesting. I didn't even think about it, actually.
Yeah.
I would, and I think they might be making this a series. I could be wrong, but I would love to watch a series of like a rogue clone squadron that used to work with Obi-Wan and Anakin, and because of their experiences with them, they decided not to, follow through with Order 66 and went like rogue or something. Like that would make such a good series.
Yeah. Oh, that would be phenomenal. Like.
I feel like they're doing something like it, though. I feel like they are. I could be.
Yeah.
I'm Googling.
Well, I sent you that. Yeah, I sent you that one thing. Like they're doing like 9 or 10 different movies and series within the next little bit here.
Yes, there's
like
tons.
Yeah, there's so many cool things coming out.
Hold on, I'm pulling it up right now. Okay, hold on. Jesus, there's so many. Obi-Wan Kenobi, amazing. Star Wars Ahsoka Tano, or a series about Ahsoka, amazing.
Yeah.
Rangers of the New Republic, this could be the one I'm thinking of. Similar to Ahsoka, Filoni and Favreau will develop a second show set during the same timeline as The Mandalorian, titled Rangers of the New Republic. The company hinted that all 3 series by the same team will be interconnected. Dude, they're doing like... Jon Favreau was one of the people who was involved with like the rebooting of the Marvel Universe. They're basically Marvel Universing Star Wars, but in TV.
Yeah, no, which is amazing, and they made that totally clear with like The Mandalorian and how that ended. Like,
love it.
That's what's gonna happen. Oh, that was so good.
I know. I'm so excited. Oh, this one sounds interesting. Star Wars Visions. Again, this is a total sidetrack from the animated movie, but I'm excited now. In 2021, Disney Plus will release a Star Wars Visions, a collection of 10 animated short films taking place in the Star Wars universe. Each film will come from different animation studios, and according to Star Wars Twitter, the films will celebrate the Star Wars galaxy through the lens of the world's best Japanese animation creators. So it's going to be Japanese Star Wars anime.
That's fucking cool.
That's so cool, right? Like, how awesome is that?
I feel like Star Wars is trying to like basically just it has explored every media, like the animation style of this movie and the Clone Wars series is so different from the animation style from like the Rebels series. And now they're going anime. Like that's neat in my opinion.
Dude, Star Wars would lend itself to anime so well. Like yeah, 100%.
It's basically like just think like Samurai Jack, but with like Jedis and shit.
Well, they have a Clone Wars series that was developed by the same people who made Samurai Jack, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah. Clone Wars Samurai Jack. Yeah, 2003 TV series. It's really good. I've seen a few episodes of it. It's called the Star Wars Clone Wars. It was released in 2003, and it's in the exact same animation style as Samurai Jack.
Oh, okay.
Made by the same people. I don't know if it's on Disney Plus though.
Yeah, there's too many things that are called like Star Wars Clone Wars.
Yeah, there is. There is way too many. Way
Yeah.
too many.
Yeah.
I just linked an image in the chat. If you take a look at it, obviously podcast people can't see it, but yeah, it looks it's really good, really well done.
Oh shit, that is cool.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's really my whole thing watching this movie was why did they wait so long to tap into this particular sort of section of the universe at a more grand scale,
Yeah, because these series came out after the prequel trilogy was finished, right?
Yes, correct. Yeah, because the prequel, the Revenge of the Sith came out in like 2005, I think. I want to say I was 15 or 16 when it was originally released.
Oh yeah, okay. And then this came out a little bit later than that. Yeah, we were this came 2008, I think.
Yeah, we were graduated at that point.
Yeah, so yeah, we were just starting our young adult lives. Yeah, no, that's
because
kind
we're
of
fucking old. Because we're old.
Yeah.
That's why.
But that is kind of weird because it feels like, again, like we've said many times, it would have given so much more context to how the movies kind of spun out.
Yes, it would have made it so much better, in my opinion.
But honestly, that seems to be the way of things nowadays. You make this like kind of grand trilogy, and it leaves you wanting more. So then, the people in charge give it to you later.
Yeah, and they're doing the same thing with Lord of the Rings, right? Like they're releasing this Lord of the Rings TV series, which is the most expensive TV series ever made or whatever. And it's like, yeah, they realize that people want this content, right?
Well, I think it's because it's the way that we consume content nowadays too, right? People binge the shit out of TV shows, and it's a myth that you can't you can't get people to sit through a 3-hour movie. What makes you think that they want a 10-hour detailed story about the same thing? Well, it turns out we all want that 10-hour detailed story.
Yeah, especially if it's well made, like
Yeah.
how long did it take? I'm assuming you watched Tiger King, right? Like,
Yeah,
how long
yeah.
did it take you to bust through that? Literally a week, maybe,
Yeah.
And people 100% are willing to sit down and watch this content if it's well made.
Yeah, well, like things like Game of Thrones, like that is the perfect example of that.
Exactly.
You couldn't have done a Game of Thrones movie.
No, it wouldn't really work. Like these kinds of like long form story arcs don't really work in that kind of movie. Like even if you think about something like Lord of the Rings, right? If you read the third book, Return of the King, and you compare it to the third movie, the amount of shit that they cut out is massive, and which they had to do in order to make it work. But that movie's still 3 to 4 hours long. Well, it's like close to 4 if you watch the extended cut.
Yeah.
There's just these really, really long. The main point I'm getting to is like these really, really long style story arcs. The only medium that they can be told through, other than books, is through TV. Because it allows the time. Yeah, it allows the time to breathe. It allows it to happen at its own pace.
Yeah. No, I agree, and like maybe that's why all the TV content so far that I have consumed from Star Wars has just been phenomenal. Like The Mandalorian, and I guess so far it's just The Mandalorian, but yeah, that's maybe why it's like heads and tails, like way better than the movies, because it gives the story the time it needs to be told.
Exactly. Like, you take a look at The Force Awakens, which I would argue is probably the best of that sequel trilogy.
Agreed.
Even that movie, in my opinion, needed like another half hour or 45 minutes of, like, okay, let's just fucking breathe in between action set pieces and figure out, where is this story going? Do you know what I mean? Like, you can't just pound out these things super quick because it doesn't give you time to care about the people or the characters fast enough. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, no, I 100% agree. And I think the biggest culprit of that was the ninth movie, Rise of Skywalker.
Oh my God, yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
That was the biggest mishmash of like quick storytelling that I think I've ever seen in any movie ever. It was just like, what is even happening right now?
It was crazy, man. Like, yeah, I mean, we'll talk about it in another episode, but it literally felt like they took 3 separate movies and like randomly sampled 5 minutes from each one of them and spliced them together randomly. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. And again, maybe it's like you're trying to tell these grand stories. You're trying to tell these huge epics. And back in the day when you made your original trilogies, you could tell those epics, just the way that like movies were made and filming styles and stuff like that. You could like really get those stories across within the 2 to 3 hours that you had. But nowadays, the way that people consume content, it's like really hard to get that story across with the minimal time that a movie allows you. So
yes.
Yeah, it's like people want that like in-depth shit. Like if you watch movies from like the 80s, they have scenes in movies that like serve no purpose to like move the plot forward, and it's just like people hanging out or something like that. You know what I mean?
It's world building is really what it is, right? It's like getting you comfortable in that situation and making you say like, okay, this is like a, we're talking a little bit high level here, but like this is a lived-in space. And I think that's actually partially what made the original Star Wars trilogy really appealing for a lot of people, because there's just like these scenes of Luke going to see the Jawas to like barter for some stuff, and there's like so much stuff in the background where you're like, what's that, and sure, nothing major may be happening during that scene, but it gives you so much context in a way that you want to know about. Do you know what I mean? Maybe I'm talking nonsense, but
no, I totally agree with you. It just makes it makes the whole experience, like we said about like kind of these animated movies, and like it gives it more context and it makes it more relatable. It makes it more like, oh, this could just be like a space civilization. This could be me in space. This is what my life could look like if I was Luke Skywalker.
Yeah. Exactly. And I think the other difference too in the content is having, kind of a creative force behind it who really, really cares, And I'm not saying that what's his name? The guy who directed The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, or not The Last Jedi. Last Jedi was a different guy. Who directed it? Hold on. Director.
Was it JJ? It wasn't JJ Abrams. No.
It was JJ Abrams.
Oh,
exactly.
Okay, yeah.
So he was a big Star Wars fan, from what I understand, but I don't think he's like the nerd out and go to convention style of Star Wars fan. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas Dave Filoni, the guy who made The Mandalorian and who made these animated series, he is 1000% the dress up as Yoda, go to the conventions, knows every single little bit of trivia kind of Star Wars fan. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, he has a passion for it.
He totally has a passion for it, and I think having that kind of force behind the media makes a big difference, right?
Yeah, definitely agree. Like J.J. Abrams, I would say, has a passion for filmmaking, and what he did with The Force Awakens, especially, was great. Like it was a great, and it was a well shot movie. It told the story in a fun way. It had enough like callbacks, enough comedy. It was like objectively, it was a good movie if you knew nothing about Star Wars. Yeah, exactly, and it was fun, and it was like, okay, this is a great little. It's a great little reintroduction to the Star Wars universe. Awesome, Yeah.
And then I guess they kind of, again, we probably shouldn't talk about this on this podcast, but you know, I feel like they really just shot themselves in the foot by switching directors each movie, you know.
Yeah, I agree with that.
You know, they had J.J. Abrams and then Rian Johnson and then J.J. Abrams plus other people, and it just was a total mess, right?
Yeah, definitely agree with that statement. But yeah, I guess back to the animated series. That was a really good tangent.
Sorry about that, but
no,
I felt the need
awesome.
to explain my feelings on that.
Yeah. This is what podcasts are, and this is why they're awesome.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, back to the animated series or animated movie.
I guess I don't know. I guess just some final thoughts on it is like we've covered a lot of it already. Like it's good. There's obviously some parts that are like really kiddie about it. Some things that just come off to mind off the top of my head is the scene when Ahsoka, Tano, and Anakin are just hiding in that box in front of, like, in the middle of the droid army, and I'm just like, really? They're just gonna hide in a box and creep forward slightly?
Yeah, just kind of weak there, right? But it wasn't made for us, right? It was made for younger people, and I try to look at it through that lens, but sometimes it's hard to. Like with that particular scene, I'm like, did this need to be here? You know?
Yeah. Or like the nicknames Sky Guy and whatever Anakin calls Ahsoka Tano.
Yeah. What does he call? I can't remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, same idea.
Yeah, same idea exactly. I do really like that we get a little bit better of a look at kind of like the droid army and what kind of vehicles they're rolling with and stuff like that.
I love that. I'm down for any Star Wars media that will expand the universe further, you know?
Yeah, agreed.
And you know that some dude has the exact model numbers of all those random ass vehicles and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, you know someone has that knowledge, right?
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah,
really
and
do.
I also really like the fact that they've kind of made it like it is like with the intro to it, and that whoever does the intro is like he has that perfect like kind of 1945 announcer feel to him, you know?
Yes.
Like
Yes, I love that.
war announcer feel, and I love it.
Yeah, kind of like the announcer in like Legend of Korra. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, I have not seen A Legend of Korra, so.
Oh, okay. You should watch it. It's okay. It's not as good as Avatar, but yeah, it's the same idea. Old-timey announcer kind of feel.
Yeah. It just like it kind of like reminds me of playing like Call of Duty or something.
Yes. I don't. Yeah, I you know, if I were to rate this, I would probably rate it like a 7.5 to 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
Definitely could use some improvement in some places, but I feel like the core of it all was pretty solid.
Yeah, and honestly, I would totally agree with that rating. Actually, as soon as you said if I were to rate this, my mind went to an 8. So.
Yeah, right. Like it's solid. Could be better, but also I think that maybe they didn't have an infinite budget to make it the most amazing thing. So it's like, I can't fault them on that, you know?
Yeah. But at the end of the day, what it did well is it made me even more excited for the Clone Wars TV series, which is probably what its job was to do.
I think so. And it made me more invested and interested in Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Ahsoka as characters.
Yeah, definitely agree. And like I can't, but like I said right at the beginning, I can't believe how much more I like animated Anakin Skywalker over the two other iterations that we have seen so far.
Yeah, me too, totally. Again, seems competent, isn't whiny, big fan.
So yeah, I mean, I guess that's pretty much all I have to say about this the Clone Wars animated movie. Is there anything else you got, or? Not
really, no. I'm even more excited to watch the animated series now. I don't technically know what we're supposed to watch. I bookmarked this, the little timeline thing. Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. It is the series, hey?
Yeah, it's going to be the series now.
Awesome. Looking very much forward to that.
Yeah. And I think we're going to do that season by season, I think was the plan.
I think, yeah, that was the original plan. I think that makes the most sense. It doesn't really make a ton of sense to, like, do the whole thing. I think there will be too much. I don't even know how many seasons there are, to be honest.
There's 7 seasons.
That's a lot of seasons. So, yeah, but they're what, 20 minutes, half an hour per episode kind of thing?
Standard cartoon length, so 20 to 22 minutes per episode.
Okay, so I can binge out like 5 of these tomorrow, easy.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Nice. Cool. Yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, no, me too. Yeah, so I guess thank you everybody for listening to this episode again of In a Galaxy Not So Far Away. Yeah, this was fun. It was fun to talk about Star Wars. It's always fun to talk about Star Wars, and it was fun to watch some Star Wars content that I just had no idea existed. So,
yep. I'm very much looking forward to the series. I really enjoyed talking about this and getting, maybe a little too deep in on it. But yeah, I'm super looking forward to it.
Cool. Awesome. Well,
all right.
Have a good night, my friend.
You too, and we'll catch you all later.
See ya. If you like this episode of In a Galaxy Not So Far Away, why not leave a review? Whether you're listening on iTunes, Stitcher, or Google Podcasts, ratings and reviews are huge. Help us to get through those Sith-like algorithms to reach the most amount of glorious Star Wars fans that we possibly can. If you would like up-to-date information on this podcast, check out our social media. You can find us on Instagram at In a Galaxy Not So Far Away Pod. If you're interested in some of the other shows that the Froggy Style Productions podcast network produces, check out their social media. You can find them at Froggy Style Productions on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. For more ways to support the show, visit fsproductions.ca.